Hello and welcome to Was That in Good Taste, the podcast that is one part cocktail hour, one part irreverent talk show, garnished with a sprig of sensitivity training. My name is Chandler Phillips, and with me, as always, is my co-host
Steven. Oh, look at that. Well, welcome.
That was a smooth intro. Look at us.
It's smooth.
Sounding almost professional up here.
But not quite.
Not gonna get there yet. Today we are gonna be talking about the Memoirs of an Enabler. So Stephen and I both work in jobs where we serve people alcohol. There's a lot of hypocrisy and just general issues that tend to arise, not all the time, but sometimes. And today we're gonna, dive into those.
Have a little chat.
Have a little topic of the, a little discussion of the week.
But first, as always, we gotta get a little bit of a catch up.
Yeah, we're gonna
check in, little check in, little fact check, false. Little check in. How you doing, Chandler?
I'm doing I'm doing all right, but there's something a little troubling happened this week, and I've been dwelling on it a little bit.
Have you really? Oh, yeah. I'm actually, I don't know anything about this. Okay.
I've been dwelling a little bit because I work at this fine wine and spirits.
But don't tell them where it is because that's weird.
Yeah, I'm not going to advertise for it, or else then, boss would have to pay me more.
He's not going to do that.
He's not going to do that. So, no, I'm working at this liquor store, and some kids came in the other day, and I'm clearly not going to serve them. They're obviously, they're 17 at the oldest, and they come in, and they're like, as soon as they step foot in, I'm like, y'all gonna have to show IDs. And they're like, oh, sure, yeah. And one of them starts shopping around, and the other two are just kind of hanging out by the door. And I'm like, guys, either if you have an ID, show it to me right now, or get out of my store. And one kid's shopping around, and my manager is like following him and kind of making sure he has ID as well, because there's literally nothing in that shop that they can purchase by being under 21. And I think what kind of had me a little verklempt about the whole situation was they were being so belligerent about the situation. I'm like, I'm not a dumbass.
They don't even know how to do it.
They don't know how to do it.
They don't know how to be smooth and send the one person in who looks the oldest and just be chill about it.
That was exactly it. 3 of them came in. I said, yo, you guys need to go. They're like, oh, we're just waiting for our friend. He's 21. I'm like, all right, then everyone has to show me ID because that's the law. And they're like, oh, well, he's, and I wasn't even aggressive, but just as confrontational as I had to be, it threw me off. And, I'm not one to try to dismiss any debauchery. I'm down with debauchery, but not while I'm being paid to enforce the opposite of debauchery.
Does it make me a bad person then? Because I work for the same business as you, right? But we sell beer and wine, and I have people. So I had somebody come in once with a group of people, and they always sit on my bench, and it happens every time. At the same time every day. There we go. I heard someone going that I just saw them in the bench, and I said, hey guys, the bench is for customers. And they said to me, well, we're going to buy some. They came in, they shopped around, and the one guy, he came up to me, he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to purchase this. It's like, shit.
What do you want to purchase?
I need to see, it's just I don't know, some kind of cider. And I go, I need to see everyone's ID. I don't really care. I really don't actually care. But the guy came up and I said, I have to ask all your friends for your IDs. I have to ask everyone. It's the law.
Because they came in as a group. They
as a
have
group.
to be ID'd
Damn,
as
why
a
didn't they
group.
just stay outside?
Right?
I'm not gonna go. I'm too lazy.
I don't give a fuck.
Right? And then they're like, "Oh no, we're not buying anything." I'm like, I watched you pick it out.
It was a group decision.
Shit.
You talked amongst yourselves.
Like, can you just go outside and just like, you could have just gone outside.
Just don't even argue with me, and this will all go over smoothly.
Damn it. But is that bad? I feel like we're really kind of encouraging. So think about this. You felt kind of bad, right?
Yeah.
So there's a woman who came in with a family. It was like a mother, a father, a daughter, and like 2 older daughters. And they'd been in before. And she goes, "Oh yeah, so..." She comes to me. She pulls out a website. She goes, "Well, it says here that if you're a parent and your child is under the age of 21 and blah blah blah." And I was like, "I don't care. I'm not gonna serve your child liquor." And I looked at her and I said, "If you buy a bottle of wine and take it to your table, I don't know what you're talking about. That's all you have to say, that you want to buy a bottle of wine. And it's gonna be okay. Like, I don't need you to rattle off the minutia.
Whatever fucking subsection, paragraph E.
I don't need the minutia, okay? I don't care, okay? Your daughter's like 20 years old and she's not old enough to... Her birthday's in 3 weeks. I don't care. Just buy a bottle of wine, okay, and give her your glass and shut up. Leave me alone."
I don't... Exactly. It comes down to, I don't honestly give a fuck what they're gonna be consuming. I just don't want the repercussions of any legal ramifications to affect me.
And I know that other states, like in America, you got 21. Other countries is a little different. Things do change. Things are different, yes. Do I care? Not so much. I didn't really drink when I was underage. I know that I saw studies that said that people are gonna... when you drink and you're underage, you're more likely to have an accident, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is true. Do I care? A little. But, like, if you're coming in to buy one beer, I'm really not gonna care, but I don't want to get arrested, which is what they will do. The cops will arrest you.
Yeah.
And ticket you personally.
They'll ticket you personally. They'll suspend the place of business. They'll suspend their licenses. There's so many more repercussions for the people who would enable such drinking than the people who actually consume the alcohol.
It's okay.
Wait, did I hit a buzzword?
Did you hear that?
Oh.
Transition. I was actually just thinking about that too. So, I want a little time to trans. I'm gonna tell you something.
In the spirit of transitions, what are we drinking right now?
Right, yes. What are we drinking right now? Because we're transitioning and we're talking about like things like liquor and things like that, blah 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 blah. But there we go. Thank you very much for holding my drink for me. We're talking about enabling things, and so because even though where I work, we sell beer. Okay, and we work for the same business, but you guys sell the hard alcohol.
Right.
So I don't know if you know this, but obviously, except for 6 packs of Budweiser, 30 packs of Coors Light and Budweiser, and like 6 packs of like Miller Lite and stuff, which is not really... We don't sell like Natty Ice. We don't sell things that alcoholics drink. Like we have people who are...
That's true, but you guys have White Claw.
Yeah, so we have people who are alcoholics who come and they are like functioning alcoholics. But we don't have like alcoholics who come the people who come in, I usually refer them to the corner to buy like, what's the 24-ounce can of something that's like
Old English
or, you were telling me one earlier.
Mickey's? Is that?
Mickey's? I've never heard of Mickey's. I don't think we have that really up here.
Malt liquor?
Yeah, Natty Ice and Natty Light and stuff like that, right? Natural.
No, they all come over to my store.
They come over there.
They get the cheapest pint of Voda they can find.
Yeah. So Voda is like a vodka from like New Jersey. I'm not really giving the distributor nobody no love. Okay, it's from Jersey, and it is actually not as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
It's not paint remover, but at the same time, it's nothing luxurious.
Well, I realized something. It's not overproofed vodka.
That's true.
And it's cheap, and it's 80%. So it's not going to be something that's super harsh, super hard on like your palate and stuff like that. Though I really love the tasting notes that I found from from the website.
Well, so you're actually trying to take the Voda to like the next level of sophistication. I'm drinking it straight out of the plastic the plastic pint right here.
I was gonna,
which it's the most common way I've distributed said alcohol, so I thought I'd pay homage to the people that I see on a daily basis that
you should feel guilty about.
I should feel some sort of intrinsic guilt for enabling their alcoholic or alcohol dependent tendencies. And so I'm trying to relate to them a little bit better by drinking it just straight out the plastic. How are you enjoying your Voda 5X premium vodka, James?
5 times distilled. The thing that I feel like I am actually on track. I was thinking about this, right? So we do have some customers who come in, buy 1 half pint, 1 full pint, sometimes 2 full pints, or sometimes, but there's 2 types of customer who buy Voda. And one type,
2 types.
One type of person buys Voda because, maybe they have something that's a little difficult and they have an addiction and, they have to buy 1 every day or 2 every day or 1 half pint, 1 full pint every day.
Mm-hmm.
And you have people who buy it because they're having a party and they want to throw it in with something, You
got your jungle juice crowd, and then you have your alcoholic dependency crowd.
So I was like, I should try to elevate the Voda. So how you go about getting the best expression of Voda? So I should have made you one actually. I was reading on the website. It says that it's with the smell of water cracker and chalk and the flavor of nutmeg and ginger and the hot body or whatever the hell it was saying.
Heavy ethanol finish accompanied by notes of ground black pepper and ground ginger root.
Yes, it's supposed to be made for mixed drinks, so I made a martini with a dirty Sioux garlic stuffed olive in it, and I made it very dirty.
Oh,
okay,
so dirty.
And it's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
it's better than when I made. So I think cheap gin. I've discovered that cheap gin tastes great. Like I get London Tower and I have it with gin and tonic. Tastes great. Mm-hmm. But I made a martini with it. I didn't like it.
Wait. Just so in case Mitch is listening, none of it's cheap.
None of it's cheap. It's affordable.
It's affordable. And it's a great deal. None of it's cheap.
None of it's cheap.
Yeah.
But I think that the martini that I made with the affordable gin didn't taste so good.
Bargain gin.
The bargain gin, but the bargain vodka with the dry vermouth. What's the brand again?
Dolan.
And the dirty Sioux garlic stuffed olive.
Oh, that's what's in. I thought it was a pit in there.
No, it's no pimento. It's a garlic stuffed olive.
Oh,
it's actually a really good. And I kind of think I might get some more Voda. Maybe another pint just to have.
Just a pint to have on hand, in case.
For vodka martini.
What's worse, to have a pint just in case, or to have a full handle to have distinguished as you're like mixing?
No, I would hide it.
Vodka. You'd hide it?
I'd put it in the back.
So, is the intrinsic shame of Voda really what makes it such an alcoholic, I guess, beverage?
So, this is what happened. When I first started going into the liquor store where we work, really, and I noticed
where I work,
where you work, and I worked once, and it's attached to the same business. And,
where I work and you hang out a lot.
We get paid by the same person.
Yeah.
I kind of feel a little bad, so I was thinking about this, right? I was like, oh, we're gonna drink Voda, and we're talking about alcoholics and people with who have alcohol dependence, and we're drinking Voda because that's what they drink. But I feel bad because we are kind of picking on them a little bit, I feel like. But like, I'm the one who kind of suggested it. Actually, I did. It was completely me. I suggested it, and it is a little bit like, I'm not saying we're bullying them, but, we're making assumptions about people in their lives that we don't know. We don't see them.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if they're drinking it out of the plastic flask.
Yeah, they can be. They can be
mixing it with orange juice
using
and
it to clean.
Prosecco.
They could be sharing with the family. They can be doing all kinds of things.
Did you just say they could be using it to clean?
They could.
Ooh, wow, that's a benefit of the doubt that.
I feel like we make clear that we should do that for people because we don't know them.
You're right.
And I sometimes feel bad judging people that I don't know.
But I think, so as much as you want to feel bad about us being shitty people, this episode isn't about us judging the alcoholics that we know. It's about judging us and judging people like us who...
Judging mostly you.
Judging mostly me, who work in liquor stores that enable such alcoholism and alcohol dependence to proliferate. And I think that's where a lot of that guilt comes from. Because I feel guilty as fuck when I see the same person come in 5 times a day on a weekly basis. Mm-hmm. It's how am I supposed to feel about that? Am I supposed to think, oh, they're a regular customer, I should befriend them? But in befriending them, you develop a personal connection that then says, as a personal friend, you should not be here as often as you are.
I really wish I'd done more research, but I was doing like ethical research about different types of ethics and like moral responsibility. Mm-hmm. But we're not gonna go there because I didn't actually get too deep into it. But
what is the moral response? What's the ethical response?
And it depends on whether or not you believe that people are responsible for their own actions and that their decisions are just theirs to make. And you have really no place in it, which is kind of valid.
It's a valid ethical school of thought.
However, as humans, we're complex and a lot of things are going on. A lot of things are happening inside of us, right? And so people that I know used to always say like, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism, right? Because especially like you're a vegan, right?
Duh.
No matter what you do or how you eat, you're going to negatively affect the environment, people, or animals. That's just it. Game over. Okay?
Even if you're all soy, there's still soy plantations.
Even if you literally lived on your own piece of land and got your own seeds, the seeds came on a truck from a person who ate meat. There's no ethical consumption, right? Mm-hmm. There is some sort of negative effect.
That's just because capitalism depends on the exploitation of the labor class. But that's for.
But also capitalism can be kind of awesome. But that's what we had the whole conversation about.
That's a whole
other thing.
Yikes!
Oh boy! But like you look at it and it's like, okay, so whose responsibility is it? Is it the responsibility of the consumer, of the employee, or the employer? So is our owner, whose
the
name
next
you
level,
said that's terrible, by the way, is his responsibility? Is it his responsibility? He knows. He has told me and told you, I know, about how he feels about people purchasing a lot of alcohol and how it destroys lives.
Yeah.
But he does it.
Those have always been kind of weird interactions with him too. 'Cause you can tell he has some sort of moral or ethical dilemma with supplying. No, he has a problem with the outcome of an alcohol-dependent neighborhood or community. That's you can tell. That's what is completely transparent, is that he sees what's going on around him, and he says this dependency and this need is negatively impactful on the community and on the people that are suffering from it. But he plays the role of the supplier of this condition. And that is what confuses me the most about it. Which, you have people in retail situations all the time that kind of look at their situation as it's a sale, it's the seller versus the buyer kind of scenario. It's the customer is, you're trying to help the customer, but they're also at the same time the enemy, or like they're the one you're trying to.
They're the mark.
They're the mark.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Hold on,
you're gonna be wrong, because that mark came long before that. That's where mark is a carny term.
No, I want you to explain what a mark is.
So pretty much when you are, because I always explain it as a wrestling term, but wrestling is carny.
Yeah.
Right. Mark is like a carny term, right? Because when you are.
I mean, even before carny terms, it can go down to like the oldest profession terms. Prostitution.
Pretty much, you can walk into a store, that's it. You're a mark. You're literally just a target. You are the person who's coming in, and I'm going to sell you. You're going to give me your money, and whether or not you get a good value or not doesn't really matter to me.
It doesn't matter.
However, the owner of our establishment has told me very clearly that he does not believe they should take advantage of the customer. That he really, really believes that. Like, you really shouldn't do that. And I discovered from his brother that that's how their father was. That's how their father was. Their father believed in taking advantage of the customer severely.
Interesting philosophies of thought that come out of that family.
So, because a lot of negative stuff happened, he doesn't believe in taking advantage of the customer. But that's why his brother does take advantage of the customer.
But to a certain extent, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. In every extent, you're kind of taking advantage of the customer.
So there is a contract that you have between as a consumer, right? And when you go into a place, you believe there's like, okay, you're going to offer me a product. And yes, I understand that the product costs you less to get, but for the labor and the effort and the ability to get it at a cost, you're going to offer to me at a reasonable markup. And that's where the taking advantage takes place.
That's how much margin is that markup.
It's how much you lean on it, how much you take advantage of. When you look at the people that I see and that I think that you see who walk into liquor stores, I see the same kind of people I see in all kinds of situations. So there's a difference between, so if you go to the show notes, which I need to come up with a show note link before the podcast, because last time I said the show note link, but then I decided to do a different one because I forgot what it was. I didn't listen to the whole entire podcast. I skimmed through it, so I forgot. If you look down in the description box or whatever you're listening to this on, the show note link is going to be there. There's a difference between alcohol abuse and dependence, which is a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Because abuse is kind of what we're doing now, where we're beating the hell, we're abusing it.
We're beating this dead horse.
But we're not dependent on it. And the people who walk into my shop, sometimes into your shop, are dependent.
A lot of the times.
But this is becoming a weird kind of overall arching discussion about capitalism, because it's the same thing when I worked at Starbucks. When you work in any kind of place with food, that's kind of what's happening, is these people are dependent. They walk into these places and...
Now, what if, say, there were some sort of industry that, all of its customers we're somehow completely dependent on their products, say like pharmaceuticals. Or whoa!
Oh boy! I gotta add some new show now. We're changing the. This is.
Yikes!
Oh boy!
No, that's way too long a road to grow.
That is.
Go
oh
down.
boy!
That's a whole lot of heat down there. But there's an intrinsic issue, and as someone working in this field, and as someone who has tried to develop somewhat of a personal relationship with my customers, it's become more and more of a hurdle to try to, I guess, ethically come to terms with. And it's not the first time I've had to at least address this issue of like how much responsibility should I take for encouraging this potentially detrimental action or
Why don't
behavior.
you tell me about the first time?
Oh, well, let me tell you about the first time I played the enabler.
Oh boy, which one of these is it?
Well, I could probably trace it back to like just growing up with my parents drank. They weren't alcoholics. They weren't super heavy drinkers, but just I liked to be a part of their socialness, and when they drank, they became more bubbly and more fun. I get from my perspective, and so I wanted to be a part of it. Not necessarily drink with them, but like, hey, Dad, you're having fun hanging out here. Let me go grab you a beer, and you'd be like, oh, sure, yeah, why not? Because that's innocent enough, and I feel like I'm helping, and I feel like I'm being included in the festivity. But as life goes on, things change, and when I got to college, that tendency became, I guess, more apparent. Like, so I smoke a weed.
A little bit of the ganja.
A little bit of the devil's lettuce. And going into college, you run into a lot of friends or a lot of people, acquaintances, that don't. But it's not because they don't like it. It's just because they never have had that opportunity before. And so now I was put into the position of being that kind of like, hey, you ever tried some drugs? Kind of persona. And it's not like I used smoking as a way to kind of engage with people, and I used it as a social development tool. Like, instead of instead of doing something lame like throwing around a frisbee, I say, hey, I'm gonna go down to the beach and smoke some weed. Anyone else want to come with me? And they'd say, well, I'd never smoked some weed before. That sounds like a fun old time. I'm like, well, you're right, it is. And so we'd go down. And so sure enough, I ended up with like 5 or 6 friends within a couple weeks of college who were just kind of like my little stoning group. Like I'd felt kind of like a kinship to them because I had corrupted them in a certain sense. And then we'd go and we'd go smoke our weed. That's actually why I started smoking. My preferred method of smoking now is to smoke menthol tobacco spliffs, because I would use this tactic to gain friends or to gain some sort of social interaction.
It's manipulative.
It's kind of manipulative. No, it's super manipulative. I'd use it to like gain some sort of in with people. And then I realized it was working with way too many people. And so then I'd be like, oh, well, I'm going to go smoke some weed. But you probably don't want none of it because I sprinkle a little tobacco on it. They're like, oh, no, I don't fuck with that. But then you get the few kids who are also like, oh, okay, like I'm down. Fuck. All right.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
come on. And then it evolves to I'm going to go smoke some of my weed, but you probably don't want none of this. It's got a little tobacco, and it's also menthol flavor. People don't like menthol, so a cigarette and the like real hippie kids.
They're
are like,
not black.
They don't want none of that.
I know they're not black. I know. Yeah, you laugh all you want. I know.
That's how I have so many black friends.
They were like menthol. Is it
Menthol.
Newport flavor?
But so like that would be what I'd smoke, and so the people who would still smoke with me then would be like I'd develop even more a connection to, and so like that whole system of enabling was just how I made friends and how I cultivated my social circle, and it's extremely unhealthy.
Oh man, I don't know how you're doing in New York because everybody except for me already smokes.
Right?
I think
that's why you're my friend.
Jesus. Wow.
Because you saw past through enough of my bullshit. You just be like, oh, okay, this guy, he may be desperate for friendship and just not being lonely all the goddamn time. Maybe he just needs like an actual friend. But like, so then I'd do this, and then I'd see my friends who I introduced to this kind of stoner culture kind of shirking their other academic or life responsibilities to that. And that's where the guilt comes from. Is fuck, I started that. I enabled that habit.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Hit me.
All right, you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. I had something very similar, but it wasn't with that. Because listen, my mother smoked my entire life, but I never knew. Because my mother, as a good parent,
she's good.
She made it so I didn't know.
That's impressive.
Even when I was like 19,
you were dumb.
I was like, oh, she's smoking marijuana. I didn't realize. Literally, I didn't realize until she just stopped hiding it, and then she like made a fucking bong out of a Coke bottle. Like I swear,
way to go.
I didn't even know, but it wasn't that for me because like my grandmother gave me like a small sip of beer. I think on the train. I remember this when I was like 7.
Train beer, those don't count.
And
I got a great story for you, but that's for
well, that's like deflate a story. And when I was like 18, my mother let me drink with her, and it was a bottle of Cisco. Oh boy, I was so fucking drunk.
Cisco, what's up?
Cisco was like, I think like it's like Four Loko before Four Loko. Ugh. So it was like 12%, and I didn't know. I had never had a drink before really, and I was like, oh my fucking god, I'm so fucking drunk.
Big yikes!
But for me, it wasn't weed. It wasn't alcohol. It was love.
It was love.
It was love.
Is that code for meth or something?
No, actual love. I remember.
Oh.
I remember my ex-girlfriend. I'll never forget this. Because you mentioned something. You were like talking about shirking responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I remember that I would meet these girls. After high school, I'd meet these girls and I'd be like, oh, nobody likes me. But then I had like, people liked me after high school. And I was like, oh yes, I would get these girlfriends. And they'd be so into me. And I would just feed into it. And they'd be like, oh, can I come to your house? I'm like, yes. And they wouldn't go to school. My ex-girlfriend failed out of high school because I enabled her. I used to tell her all the time, come to my house, come to my house, come to my house.
Scoff.
She came to my house so much. And I'm not even, it's actually very fortunate because she's a pretty successful person. And we're pretty close now, actually. Thank fucking God. Because I actually feel really terrible about this. So she was going like summer school because she fucking fucked up in her like senior year of high school, coming to fucking come visit her fucking boyfriend who's just out of high school. And she came to my house on my birthday. So, yeah, we did the thing. And then I was like, peace out. And then I left her to go see some other girl. Right? And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I felt bad then, but in hindsight, I feel worse because the thing about people and love addicts is because, like, was that. See, that's the kind of addict I was.
You were a love enabler.
But I was also a love addict myself. It was like a codependent kind of thing.
Ooh.
Because when I was in high school, nobody liked me or whatever, you know. So you get older and it's like, oh, people like me.
Well, because what is it? Oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine. Those are just as addictive as any other.
So when you meet someone who like likes you and it's like, oh, they like me. But then like after a while, the high fades and you're just like, oh, I actually don't. We have nothing in common. I don't really like you, and nothing's really going on. I know. I never really had.
But then you have sex again, and then you get that hit again.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, I never did the alcohol. I never did the weed. But like, I remember my first real drink. I was across the street from where I am now. Right now, my ex-roommate, he goes, "Let's go get a drink," and I was like, "Oh, I'm 22. I can go buy beer. Let's do it." But he was so broke.
You were 22?
He was such a broke bitch. I was like, all right, let's go. So we go to the store that we were in tonight. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I'm like, oh, you pick. And he reaches down and he picks up a St. Ides High Gravity. So I grabbed one.
What?
And that's what we drank. St. Ides High Gravity. And I remember that so much. And he actually did that to me. He manipulated me, and like and it's so funny because like I don't have like, because like I didn't really drink that much, and like even my like love and like, because people who are addicted to love, I was definitely drawn to a lot of women who didn't have dads and like really needed some love, and they just were relationship hopping. And that's because I also never really dated anyone, and I was like very just out of high school. Didn't have any relationships really at all, you know. But it was less me enabling and me being codependent. You know,
it wasn't as much of your manipulation on your side to enable, but it was more of, well,
we were crackheads.
You were mutual crackheads. Sorry, love crackheads.
We would love crackheads.
Like Kesha said, your love is my drug.
You know,
who knew it would so true?
I really wish that, like, you know, I don't say I wish, but like, I feel fortunate. But then I realize, as I say that, I'm lying. I am the world's biggest fucking enabler sometimes, because I love to like, I love to cook and I love to drink. I don't love to drink by myself. Okay, but I don't do the thing where it's like, oh, let's drink. I cook a meal.
And then you kind of like
sliding in some drinks. Let's have some drinks. Let's do it.
So is that worse?
I don't mean to do it.
Like, is that worse than just being completely upfront and candid and saying, let's have something to drink?
It's worse. You know, the thing is that like for you, it's definitely more direct because I don't smoke weed. I didn't drink really until I was late in life. I sell beer, not liquor. And I do sell, like, the one guy who's a construction worker who comes to my job 4 times a day while he's at work and has one beer. But, like, other than him, beer is kind of a different thing. And I sell craft beer, so I'm not selling it to people who drink 1690 ices a day.
Nah.
You know.
And also, most alcoholics probably aren't.
And that right there, I think it might be your white privilege, because
really?
You go to these poor neighborhoods with all these poor people of color who can afford a bottle of liquor. They all go, and I remember being in the store.
Is it beer or is it like 40s?
No, it's like
malt liquor.
I was
has
in the store,
higher.
and I remember the guy. He was in there. He was like, "Yo, why is this can of Coors $1.75? It was $1.50." You know,
shit.
You know, and you're a crazy stallion.
That's my white privilege. I'm putting
like,
away.
I noticed that, like, where I grew up, it was not hard alcohol. It was beer, lots and lots of beer. Everybody drink beer. The parents drink beer. Not my mother. My mother does not drink. She does not really like alcohol.
But she smokes weed?
She smokes, and she will have a drink. But I went with her to brunch. She had, like, a Bloody Mary. She took one sip.
I could probably be friends with your mom.
She was like, woo. She took one sip of a Bloody Mary. She was like, woo.
Oh, jeez.
Boy.
Oh, jeez.
You know. So, like, you know, I just never, that's not what I had, you know. I just did not have that. So, like, I feel not left out, but, like, even my love, I realized as I was telling my love enabling story, I was like, oh, I put in my show notes, like, you know, enabling love addiction. But I realized, but it was not so much me and so much as it being just completely codependent, you know, because it's not like, I'm like, you need to drink with me because I'm an alcoholic. It's more like, oh, we both discovered liquor at the same time. Let's drink a lot, you know. It's so like, it was me and
it was
them.
it was too mutual
It
for
was
you
too
to be
mutual.
Enabling, really.
Damn it. I have no good enabling stories. I'm not, I literally have none. I don't enable people to do anything.
See, and I enable you all the time.
You do. You're the fucking worst. Okay.
You'll get off work like 3 hours before me, and I'll say like, "Hey, stick around. I might get some drinks later."
Yeah. Or what is it like the lost episode? Oh boy. Oh boy. And that most of that before it even happened was like you was like, no, have another drink. Have another drink.
I just have a really heavy hand when it comes to pouring shots.
Just have another drink.
Just have another one. Because eventually you'll have so many you forget what number you're at, and then it's like, hey, we're having fun.
You know, but like I got some because we know we're getting closer to the end, right? So I'm very curious about this one story that you told me about before. You were telling me about this being a not-for-profit drug coordinator.
Oh, that little part of the part of the video, the notes. Oh,
you're sipping on that Voda there,
dude. I got like 2 sips left of this.
I didn't bring the whole thing with me, so
yeah, you've just been casually sipping on your
drinking
martini.
Way before you.
Huh?
I was drinking all day at work.
Look here, sister. I started my day. This is how bad an enabler I am. I'm now trying to like one up you with how much I've been drinking and how earlier I started drinking. That's part of my problem. But like, I started my day at 2:00 with a little hot chocolate and some bourbon cream in there.
But by 2:00, I was already in my 3rd beer. Step your game up.
Look, I was asleep. Anywho, so this whole non-for-profit drug coordinator thing, it ties back into this whole enabling issue where I feel guilty about providing my customers with the alcohol that they currently have. See, again, when I was in college, I was very much about the weeds.
Oh boy.
And I had a friend who was a really good friend who actually grew his own. He had a pretty solid garden, and I would get like I'd get good deals if I put in bulk orders. Like buying whatever, like an ounce at a time would be great and all, but if I bought a pound, I could get a couple ounces, like just kind of thrown on top, gratis.
Oh yeah, gratis.
So it would come around to where like once, maybe twice a month, I'd then go around my apartment and solicit my close stoning friends and be like, yo, I got a good deal. You guys want to jump in on this? It got to the point where like I would just stick my head out my room and yell drugs. And whoever was in the house would respond with either corresponding drugs or just I'm in. And it'd be, we had a drugs call. It was drugs.
Is that really it?
That was it.
You're fucking with me.
And so I'd collect money from my friends. We'd pass around our little, our change plate, you know, and whatever.
Praise Jesus.
Praise Jesus. And I'd spend my gas money. I'd drive up to my buddy's place. I'd drive up to the garden, you know. It's a better term than a grow op. It's a garden of magic and wonder. And I'd pick up whatever increment we were planning on getting. And of course, my buddy Growing would be like, oh, I'll throw on a little extra for you. And so I'd keep the little extra because, I spent my gas money. And
so you would get free weed.
So I'd get some free weed. I still paid for the majority of my weed.
Oh yeah, of course. Because you got the majority of your weed. Okay.
But I still got some free weed, and then I would redistribute it among the people. Well, when I went back from college and was telling my hometown friends about this, they were like, "You're a drug dealer."
I was just thinking, you're a drug dealer. You're a drug dealer.
And I'm not a drug dealer. I'm not. I don't try to make a deal to profit myself. It was the entire intention of the collection was just to give everyone as good a deal as possible.
Did you ever make any profit?
Not monetary profit. But like we said, I got some free weed out of it.
So like if you didn't need any weed but you did it for everyone, then there would be a little extra on top for you.
But there would be a little extra on top for me.
Which would be
But I was not in it for any profit towards myself. And
you were a drug dealer.
I was a socialist. I was a not-for-profit drug coordinator, not a drug dealer. And then sometimes I would take that little extra bit of weed and cook it into edibles and then sell it to other people for a profit.
And you were a drug dealer.
And I was a not-for-profit drug coordinator.
And yeah, okay, there we go.
But,
and you were a drug dealer, and you got away with it because you're white. Gotcha. Yeah, there we go. That's it. That's it.
That's the end of the episode right there.
An hour. That's it. It's game over.
It's already an hour.
It's been over an hour.
We're not even going to get to talk about the ethics of serving pregnant women alcohol or like.
Do you do that?
I don't. Well,
I don't either.
Honestly. But here's the thing though. New York recently made it so that bartenders cannot deny
because it's not your fucking business.
It's not. But would you?
I've had a woman who's pregnant buy beer, but she sells for her husband. But guess what? Yeah. She didn't have to tell me that because guess what? It's not my business.
Is it not your business or like
it's her body?
It's her body, her choice.
It is.
That's fair.
Also, all the studies and stuff say that, a glass of wine, a beer is not going to do harm to the fetus. It's an excess. Mm-hmm. The problem is people don't do just one, and that's where the problem lies.
And is it their responsibility, or is it your responsibility?
It's their responsibility, not mine. Granted, doesn't mean I'm not going to feel bad about it.
Are you going to feel bad about it?
I would. But I don't know about it. So there you go. All right, there we go. And that was that in good taste.
Was any of that in good taste?
I think, as always, the answer is definitely going to be no.
Wait, no. Hold on. No, I still have...
No, you cannot do that because I want you passing out, vomiting in my house. That's
we got a shot and a half left. Where's the rest of your dirty martini?
It's out there. Oh, I finished it. I've been finished it.
Cheers.
So, okay, there we go. Oh, and you finished the whole fucking bottle. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Ugh.
I need a new end song because this song is too good for this podcast.
I can taste the plastic.
And that was that in good taste. As always, if you are interested in interacting with us, you can reach out to me via Instagram at Art of Giving Up, on Facebook at Art of Good Taste, because I tried to change the name of the Facebook, but they wouldn't let me because it's too different. So I took the Art of Giving Up and was that in good taste. And it's
the Art of Good Taste.
So it's the Art of Good Taste. And then in like a few weeks, I'm gonna change it to the Art of. I'm gonna keep changing it gradually until it's the name that I want it to be. But for now, it's the Art of Good Taste. And you're gonna reach out to me for both podcasts. Of course, it's always gonna be artofgivinguppodcast@gmail.com, and you can find Was That in Good Taste everywhere, including on iTunes, Stitcher, whatever podcast thing that you use,
wherever podcasts are found.
Wherever podcasts are found. Remember to click like.
Aisle 5 of the internet.
Smash like on that like button. And, of course, as always, we're here for you. I'm your host, Steven, and...
I'm Chandler Phillips, and I've finished my plastic bottle of Voda.
I'm not gonna lie. I cannot believe you actually made that whole pint of vodka. And I'm gonna tell you something. If it was a pint of whiskey, I probably could have done it.
If it were whiskey, that would have been gone 30 minutes ago.
It would have been gone. I don't know. Vodka and me.
Like, I can feel the salivation.
Right? Please don't stop.
I'm not going to throw up. I might drool a little bit.
Okay, just a little bit. Yeah. So,
thank you so much. I love you.
That's it. And go have a drink on us. Peace.
Peace.
It's strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you.
Jonathan Franklin. He is the host and of the Hot Dog Hens podcast, and he is the owner of the Franklin Hot Dog Stand on 53rd and 8th. How you doing there, Franklin?
Oh, I am just so hot dog delighted to be here. You know, after doing episode after episode of the Hot Dog Show, it's nice to branch out just a tad bit and really spread our hot dog message to the world. 'Cause there's beef dogs and pork dogs, but you get your occasional chicken and turkey dogs too. And you know, you got so many hot dog regulars that want to just throw their relish on any of these dogs. And, you know, that mustard just doesn't fly with every ketchup, you know what I'm saying.
I do indeed know what you're saying. So we brought you on here as a humble hot dog store stand owner to ask you about the thing that you know about most, politics.
Well, the way I see it, you got the people out there who love your standard hot dog, your coney, foot-long hot dog. They don't want to change for anyone. And you got your classic Chicago dog that also doesn't want to change for anyone.
If you had to pick a type of dog, do you like them skinless? Do you like them with or without relish, mustard, sauerkraut?
You know, I may get a lot of flack from the hot dog community for my opinions on this burgeoning market of hot dog tube meats. But really, you gotta look at the Hawaiian dog. It's your classic hot dog on a brioche bun, pork filling with a pineapple chutney. Really brings the experience together in a way the entire family can enjoy.
That sounds delicious. And now a message from our sponsor, Sabro.
Hey, you want a fucking hot dog? Come on down to Sabret. Fuck your gourmet dogs.
You fuck these little guys on the fucking street corner. You need to come down to here and you need to get the best fucking dogs around.
Look, are you fucking hungry? Look, is there anything cheaper on the fucking block? No. So come on in, shove the fucking dog in your face, put some deli mustard if you really needed to, but just choke it down and get back to work, you fucking animal.
You want chili? We ain't got that. You want caramelized onions? We
Fuck
ain't
you.
got that. We got the sauerkraut from the silver package. We got the mustard from the fucking Goldens. $1 from the supermarket. You want it? We got it.
Look, here's the thing. A dumb business would waste their products and their money on things that would expire easily. So we say, fuck that. That's dumb. It's a dumb business idea. You're gonna buy meat that expires like 2 months before you use it? Pfft, idiot. No. You're gonna buy something that'll last for years. There'll be a nuclear holocaust. Sorry, can I say holocaust already?
Holocaust.
And
All
you're
this
gonna-
politics with China. We work with China.
We work with China.
Cats like China. Dog like China. Monkey like China. You like it? We got it.
The dogs like China. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry.
God, are you fucking dying?
I had to break character a little bit.
Oh boy. Oh boy.